Welcome to the 2015 Salisbury Candidates Forum, live from the Wicomico Room in the Guerrero University Center on the campus of Salisbury University. Brought to you by WMDT in partnership with Salisbury University's Institute for Public Affairs and Civic Engagement and the Salisbury Area Chamber of Commerce. Here's the moderator for tonight's forum, Ernie Colburn.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Ernie Colburn, President and CEO of the Salisbury Area Chamber of Commerce and moderator of the event this evening. Welcome to the City of Salisbury Candidate Forum hosted on the beautiful campus of Salisbury University. This forum is sponsored by the Salisbury Area Chamber of Commerce in cooperation with the Salisbury University's Institute for Public Affairs and Civic Engagement. A special thank you goes out to Salisbury University President Dr. Janet Dudley Ushbach for her support of today's event as well. I would also like to thank WMDT 47 ABC for their live broadcast and coverage of this event. Now I'd like to introduce the candidates that are present. Mayor-elect Jake Day, who is running unopposed. City Council District 1 candidates, Sarah Hawcutt, April Jackson, incumbent Shaney Shields. City Council District 2 candidates, Kivan Arabi, Marvin Ames, Miraboda, and unfortunately, Justin Gergoli was not able to join us tonight due to a previously scheduled event. City Council District 3 candidates, Jack Heath, Kevin Lindsay, and Tim Spees. City Council District number 4 candidates, Robert Mazzula, and again, unfortunately, Jim Ireton had a previously scheduled engagement out of town and was not able to attend this evening. And finally, City Council District 5 candidate running unopposed, Laura Mitchell. The format for the event will be similar to many other forums and debates that we've held throughout the years. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for opening remarks and introductions. Each candidate will address specific questions from the moderator, 1 minute each, and each candidate will have 1 minute for closing comments. Our timekeeper this evening is Ms. Shannon Mitchell, who is the Director of Events for the Salisbury Area Chamber of Commerce. For your 2-minute introduction, we'd like to have you not only introduce yourself, but briefly highlight what your top 3 priorities would be if you're elected. You each have 2 minutes. So first, let's start with Mayor-elect Jake Day.
Good evening, Salisbury. Good evening, Salisbury. Come on, we're on live television. Let's have some fun with it. My name is Jake Day. I'm an urban designer, an Army officer, and I was born and raised right here in Salisbury, Maryland. 2.5 years ago, I ran for city council because I was embarrassed by a dysfunctional government. I wanted to change it because I felt Salisbury's government had forgotten about its people. I agree. It has been my honor to restore pride and partnership to the city council chambers as your council president. And it will be my honor now to lead this city forward as your mayor. As mayor, I will first and foremost be committed to making Salisbury a competitive, vibrant, and growing city with a high quality of life. And folks, that begins at the center. To ever be a 21st century competitive city, we must invest in our heart and soul. And I'm proud that we have, over the last 2.5 years, seen more businesses move downtown, more restaurants move downtown, more people move downtown than in the 40 years prior. Tonight we're here at Salisbury University, and yes, it's a lovely campus. But if we're serious about economic recovery in this town, we have to get serious about the 1,200 students who graduate from this institution every year. We have to invite them into our community and into our economy. We're on our way. We have a downtown trolley that runs between the university and downtown, something suggested 40 years ago. We have the art galleries downtown, and we have the gallery building recently donated to the Salisbury University. And we must do more to ensure that the youth of this city, and yes, I'm talking about the people who are younger than me, have a better path to a job, an education, and a future, whether they grow up in Doverdale or Camden or Newtown or the West Side. I want it for my daughter, and even though she's only 2 months old today, I want it for her, and I want it for every child raised in this city. So as your mayor, as your leader, I promise you a new day for Salisbury.
Thank you. Now let's go to City Council District 1 candidate, Sarah Hawcott.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I graduated from Salisbury University with a philosophy degree. I recently helped write a chicken ordinance that passed, and I really believe in urban agriculture and letting our kids know where our food comes from. My daughter gets to play with her 2 chickens now and bring in the eggs every day. I work closely with the Art Institute and Gallery, and I encourage them to help the youth that are not privileged and bring in classes that they might not have been able to afford. I've been running a muse studios, a pottery that my husband and I started 9 years ago, and I want to focus on crime, clean water, and bicycle safety. I see terrible things happening in our community, and it really concerns me. I want to focus on bringing the police into the community on foot and bringing them in a way that's going to educate and really create a community. I want to focus on clean water. Naylor Mill Park was almost donated to the county, and we could have potentially given our water source, problems. I want to focus on bicycle safety. People in this area are getting on their bikes, and cars don't necessarily know how to interact with them, and they don't necessarily know how to interact with the cars. And I really think that there's a lot of things that our community can focus on, and the biggest thing is just bringing the community together, and that's where I'm focused.
Thank you. Ms. Jackson.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I come before you first presenting myself as a concerned citizen, a parent, voter, advocate, leader, and a candidate running for Salisbury City Council District 1 seat. My name is April Jackson, and my slogan is New Day, New Way. I have many roles in my district, my city, my community, and my county. I am a commissioner for Wycomico County Parks and Recreation. I am a member of Wycomico County NAACP. I'm a member of Tri-County MLK Coalition Organization. I'm on the Safe Street Initiative Program, president of Salisbury Advisory Council on Youth Activities, and I am a devout and dedicated member to Wesley Temple United Methodist Church. I am the daughter of the late activist, community, and youth leader Billie Jean Jackson Sr. I am a product of Salisbury, Maryland, nourishment, patience, and love, and wish to continue the legacy of those before me, in which I wish to give the citizens of our city, young and old, the opportunity to thrive by means of economic development, jobs, and building businesses through entrepreneurship for our own residents. A safe Salisbury, crime prevention, programming, youth development centers, priority of revitalization of downtown and entire city of Salisbury by continuing the efforts of economic development and a safe Salisbury. Thank you so much for your time this evening. These are the things that I'm looking forward to.
Thank you. Ms. Shields.
Good evening. I'm Shani Shields, your public servant for District 1. I'm a native of Salisbury also, and I'm excited. And you see the energy that Mayor-elect Jake Day has. And it's come to all the council members. And it's a positive thing that our city is going, the path we're going is positive. I want to continue to be part of this movement of getting things done for the betterment of Salisbury. They asked for 3 top priorities. Well, the 3 top priorities, and it took a while for me to think about it, is curbing crime by putting preventative measures in place, addressing the environmental issues at Northeast Collector, because we do have a study that's sitting on the shelf, and I'd like to see that implemented, but that's not a short term, and I hope it's not a long term, it's a medium term goal I have, because we have environmental issues there. And encouraging our workforce to acquire the skills for jobs that may come to Salisbury. And yes, I have enjoyed serving the city of Salisbury, and I'm just one person, and we have to work together. And I think that's what Mayor-elect has done. As he stated, we're doing wonderful work now in the city of Salisbury, and I want to be part of that continuation of doing that.
Thank you. City Council District 2 candidates, Mr. Arabi.
Hi, nice to meet you all. I'm Dr. Kayvan Arabi. I've taught at UMES before. I've taught at Warwick Government and History. And it is really a privilege and an honor to be elected if I have that chance in November 3rd. I have 3 priorities, but they're not just the only 3 priorities that I have. The first one, what got me interested in running for office, is the homeless people. I'm originally not from Salisbury, as you can tell. I may have an accent. Some of you may pick it up. So I moved down in 2012 and I saw that the city of Salisbury has a lot of homeless people, and that really bothered me a lot. So what I wanted to do is to fix this situation. Number 1 priority is jobs. We need to bring industry here. We need to bring manufacturing. And we have some strategies. I talked with Jake before. Downtown is one piece of that. Another plan is to have tax incentives and a good environment for regulation. So we have to do that to bring large-scale employment. We have lost a lot of jobs. We've lost 600 jobs at Saffron. We've lost the diesel company, the paper company. You all know the history. I don't have to tell you. So we have to focus there because that's the center of the problem. When jobs leave the town, you have unemployment, you have underemployment, you have lower pay, and people can't pay their rent, they can't pay their mortgage. That's the facts. So if we focus on that, we'll be in a better place. The second priority that I have is job training. You may not be ready for a job, you might have been unemployed, but I'd like to help you get trained and get a better job. The third priority that I have is the relationship with the police. As you saw in Baltimore, people had a triggering point and they resorted to violence. Well, I think the only way to prevent it is to get the police to have better relationships with the community, which means what? Building relationships. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Ames.
Yes, my name is Marvin Ames. I was born in Wycomico County. I was raised in Crisfield. I was married for 15 years to my wife, of Trina Lockwood. She passed away. Trina Lockwood Ames, she passed away of sickle cell anemia. My current girlfriend and me, we actually have a baby, and he's 2 months old. Also, for right now, I work for the Wycomico County Youth and Civic Center, and I work with Wycomico Youth and Civic Center, and I work also with all the different agencies across the board, meaning all county facilities. It's the state and the city as well as of right now. My goals for the 3 things that I would like to improve on for the city are this. Working to bring jobs to the area, trying to reach out to the different industries, such as Walmart. Right now, they've been trying to build a distribution center down in Somerset County. I want to bring that up here to Wycomico County. I would like to improve our relationship with the police department in my district, and I would also like to work to bring and work with the Board of Education to improve their education, the education for the kids right now, and with the actual colleges, to give more of the incentives for high school kids to get credits right now through school. That's what I want to do.
Thank you. Mr. Boda.
Good evening. I'm your Boda, candidate for City Council in District 2. I'm a resident of the Doverdale neighborhood where my wife and I have lived for over 9 years, and I'm also an asset protection manager for Walmart, where I have worked for over 23 years. Ever since spending summers in Salisbury with my grandfather, the Reverend Alex Boda, who was the pastor at St. Andrew's United Methodist Church on Vine Street, I have always wanted to live in Salisbury. The city park and zoo was inspiring to me, and places I always looked forward to exploring when I was a kid. So where Salisbury was then, and the path that has led us to this renaissance with all the great things happening. We are currently in a moment where, as a city and a people, as diverse and beautiful as we are defining our culture and our heritage right now. We refuse to be defined by strife, divisiveness, and dysfunction. We define ourselves by vision, hope, and love. This is the foundation of building our future. Like many communities and cities across America, we have a few issues we need to focus on. So my top three priorities are economic growth and higher wage employment, work to reduce crime, combat the heroin epidemic, and implement preventative measures for juvenile crime. Third, I would like to implement policies that reduce the number of vacant homes and increase home ownership within our city. There are no magic pieces of legislation or a simple snap of the finger to fix everything instantly. Addressing these issues will take years of focus, partnerships, and above all, commitment. It's all about having safe neighborhoods, economic freedom, and unlimited possibilities. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll go to District 3, Mr. Heath.
My name is Jack Heath, and I'm a family man, first and foremost. I've been married to my wife, Linda, for 46 years. I have 3 wonderful children and 6 grandchildren. Two of those children live in Salisbury and are in fact teachers in the school system, and I'm very proud of them. Thus, I have a very vested interest in making Salisbury the best place possible to leave them after I'm gone. My career began as a teacher and a coach in high school, but very soon after that I got into manufacturing, where I spent most of my professional career, starting off as a production supervisor around the second shift and ending up as the CEO of a $160 million international business. And then after I retired, I got the best job that I've ever had in my life, running Lower Shore Enterprises, a nonprofit for individuals with disabilities. My career finished up with Lower Shore Enterprises, and I still had more to give back, and that's why I ran for City Council. My volunteer work in the community has been consistent over the years, which included Rotary, the Elks, and over 30 years in the volunteer fire service. I'm very proud to be a member of the council. My top priorities are economic development through manufacturing jobs, the at-risk youth of our city and its relationship to juvenile crime, and third and the final one would be the continuation of the revitalization of downtown. Let's all work together to make Salisbury the best possible place to be. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Lindsay.
Thank you for having me. First of all, I want to say to all the SU students, go Gulls, as a Salisbury alumni. I want to give a special shout out to my grandmother. She is here with me today, and I'm pretty sure none of you guys can say that, but I'm proud that she's here. My children are out eating somewhere, so I guess they'll be in here at some point. First and foremost, I would like to say I'm not from Salisbury originally. So some of the goals that we want to accomplish, I'm living proof of it. We want to keep students here from Salisbury University, and I'm one of them, okay? I came back from Prince George's County, and I love it here. I've been here for 15 years. I currently am a case manager at Goodwill Workforce Development, so I do see what is happening to the city every day, from ex-convicts to the homeless, to the average person coming in that wants training. So I do see that. I coach football at Pop Warner, and I currently work with the youth, and I see the issues firsthand. We can sit up here and talk about it, but I see it, okay? And my experience with juvenile services, Maple Shade Youth and Family Services, and Parkside High School working with special education, I think gives me a little bit of advantage of understanding these young men and women. My priority, number one, is the youth, okay? It's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. If you don't know who said that, that was Frederick Douglass. With that, with the youth, what we need to realize is that the youth have parents, okay? Number two, if we want everybody to buy into what we're preaching up here, the families and the youth have to buy into it. So we have to buy into them. And finally, with everything else, yes, we need downtown Salisbury to strive. I'm all about having that strive. Because if we can get that to strive, the communities outside of Salisbury can strive. So those are my top 3 priorities, and I appreciate you guys having me here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Spies.
Good evening, everyone. It's good to see you all here and everybody in the TV audience. 2 minutes isn't a lot of time, so I hope you won't leave your TVs or pick up your phones in here to visit my website, which just went up. It's timspies.com. And it'll tell you all the things that I don't have the time to tell you right now. I've been here for over 30 years. I have a 27-year career in the Navy. I'm retired as a Command Master Chief in the Navy. We took a $300 million hospital unit to the war, brought it back with everybody intact. I'm happy to say that. As a Salisbury citizen, I've been here. Well, I was a graduate of Salisbury University as well, and I'm an alumnus here of the nursing program. It was a great program, and I appreciate all the things it did for me. I'm also a neighborhood advocate, and I like to look back and say that some of the relationships that we now enjoy with Salisbury University I'm responsible for. I was one of the first members and an original member of the Salisbury University Town and Gown and the Neighborhood Relations Committee, and we've done great things. If you weren't here 10 years ago to see how poorly the university and the city were getting along, today is a whole nother thing. My priorities here, I really want to bring back, I was the co-chair of the Weed and Seed initiative that Department of Justice brought to us, and it brought $1.2 million in the mid-2000s to put into youth programs and police activities. That money was really well spent. Crime went down. When the money went away, crime went back up. I want to bring that money back into Salisbury. I want to see youth centers, I want to see community centers, and I want those to be available for adults as well. We have an educational responsibility here to everyone, and to make education accessible and readily available is our responsibility. We have to work together to do this. I also want to see downtown work. Downtown has been neglected for decades, and now we're going to have something much, much better. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now to District 4 candidate, Mr. Mazzullo.
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Roger Mazzullo and I'm running for City Council in District 4. I'm in business. I do business all over the United States and in Canada, and I have many years of business experience, and one of my top priorities is going to be to work together with the new mayor, Jake Day, and everyone on the City Council to develop job opportunities for all our citizens by bringing new manufacturers and companies into our area, and also to encourage entrepreneurials locally. This will help to bring a needed fresh influx of commerce to Salisbury. My second top priority is a huge concern of mine, which is to work with all the departments in the city to reduce youth crime and make our neighborhoods safe for families, for seniors, for college students, and for children to be able to go out and play outside. My third top priority is working with our youth, which is the path to a stronger future for Salisbury, and by developing a community center location that will create a more effective environment for the youth in our city, we will help reduce crime, and where we all can go and get together and meet. This will make a huge stride in bringing the city of Salisbury back to its roots of being the prosperous and welcoming center of the Eastern Shore, which we all want it to be. And I thank you for listening.
Thank you. Now to District 5, unopposed, Ms. Mitchell.
I think maybe we should have reversed the district numbers. I'm feeling like a little left out down here. Hi, I'm Laura Mitchell. I'm a Salisbury native as well. We have a few of us up here, and a lot more out there that I see. I grew up here for the first half of my life, went away, came back. So I guess I'm both a from here and a come here. I love this city. I think we have a lot of amazing things going on. It is a wonderful place to be. I'm not Pollyanna. I know that we have issues, but those we address one by one. We need to be marketing ourselves. We need to be our #1 advocates and out there trying to fill our own dance card, as I've said before. We can't wait for sit along the wall and wait for somebody to come and ask us. We have to go and find these people that are looking for expansion, looking for a place to go. Pharmaceuticals in the generic drug area is one that is, Cadista is exploding here, and I think there's a lot of opportunity there with other pharmaceutical companies. My three top priorities are working on our core issues. First thing you do when you go to the gym, if I can remember that far back, with a trainer, is to tell you, you have to work on your core strength first. And for us, one of those is downtown. As Mr. Day said, we're working on the revitalization of downtown. There have been a lot of plans that have sat on shelves for a long time, and we are finally getting that moving. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. Focusing on our youth, big core issue. Those are the citizens of the future. They're the ones that will be sitting up here in not too many years. And the provision of services and activities for their safety and development. We have to focus on that. And bolstering our citizens' safety, both real and perceived, by addressing the root causes, some of which are related to addiction and some other issues that we have to address through our youth and adults, education and development centers that we'll get into more as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks to all. We now want to turn to our questions, but first we want to turn to Mayor-elect Jake Day, who will have a chance to answer a few of our questions before we move on to the council candidates. Mayor-elect Day, I have 4 questions for you, 1 minute to respond to each, please, sir. First, as mayor, what is the #1 thing that you would like to improve that you haven't been able to do as council president?
Well, first, let me say to the future fellow council members, I feel like I know you a little bit better tonight. Kevin, my grandmother's here too. Graham, how are you? And Marvin, I'm glad to know we'll both be asleep deprived with 2-month-olds at home. So I'm running for mayor because, Colonel Cook will understand this. I'm running for mayor because I'm interested in leading. I'm interested in being the executive leader of the city. It has been fantastic to be council president. I've enjoyed it, but I think we need a leader from the top. But as council president, I haven't been able to bring the level of partnership that I feel we brought to the council table to the rest of government and to the rest of the city. So my priority will be to bring that same level of partnership to work with our county and to work with our state representatives and to work with our community institutions.
Thank you.
Sir.
My next question is, we've heard a lot about the proposed curfew legislation. As mayor, would you continue to move forward with that legislation?
Well, Ernie, that's a good question. If I had been mayor, I wouldn't have started with that legislation. That wouldn't have been my starting point. But I will say that after hearing from our police chief, from representatives of our neighborhoods, from 4 forums held around the city, and from our state's attorney, it may be a temporary safety net that we need. And I'm not 100% convinced of that yet, but I'm interested and willing to listen. That being said, first and foremost, we have to ensure that our young people feel like they have a path to a brighter future. And yes, that's going to mean investment in community centers and athletic programs, which are free, by the way. They're going to have to be. We're going to have to get serious about investing in community programs that are accessible to every kid born in Salisbury, born and raised in Salisbury. Community policing is going to be critical as well, because we do have to rebuild trust between our police officers and our community. So it's open. I'm open to it. It wouldn't be what I would have led with, but I'm open to it.
Thank you. Next question. Recently, we've heard a lot about high rents and rentals in Salisbury. What, as mayor, would you do to address concerns about home ownership and rent affordability here in Salisbury?
Well, I would agree with, I think, most of the council candidates in that our economy is our highest priority. You know, Salisbury is an important part of the overall regional economy. 93% of the economic activity in Wicomico County occurs in the city boundaries of Salisbury. 91% of the jobs in Wicomico County exist inside of the city of Salisbury. That being said, wages are not high enough, and there is a gap between what is affordable in our community and what is perceived as affordable in other communities. That being said, the key for us is home ownership. We have to restore to this city home ownership. We have 66% of our single-family homes in this city are rentals and our investment properties. We have to reduce that to at least 50%. That's going to take demand-side influence. In other words, we're going to have to work in partnership with Salisbury Neighborhood Housing, Habitat for Humanity, great organizations like that, to restore home ownership. And we're going to help potential homeowners who don't have the cash and don't have the credit to become believably homeowners.
Thank you. And my final question for you is, what is your vision of what Salisbury will look like 5 years from now?
Salisbury 5 years from now, this city will be prosperous. We'll have a high quality of life. Our downtown will be better than it is. Our downtown will be more active. Our university and our city will be more connected. We will feel more like a university town and less like a town with a university in it. We're going to have a more diverse job base. We're going to have better employment, and we're going to be getting there. It's going to be a process that takes more than 5 years, but we can do a lot in 5 years. We can do a lot in 4 years even. We will be the envy of communities similar size to us elsewhere in the country, and certainly in the Mid-Atlantic region. And no matter what, we will be the crystal clear capital of the Eastern Shore.
Thank you, Mr. Day. Appreciate it. Now let's turn our questions to our candidates for City Council. And each of you will have 1 minute to respond. Question number 1, unemployment continues to be a topic of major concern in our region. How would you work to attract more businesses to Salisbury, and especially those businesses that offer high-paying jobs? Similarly, how would you work to reverse the brain drain and encourage Salisbury University students to stay local after graduation? Ms. Hawkeye?
I know that unemployment is still a problem, and I would like to see more people getting college degrees and more people opening their own businesses. As a small business owner myself, I know how hard it is to create a small business, and I think that we need to create tax incentives so that we could draw people downtown to open up their own small businesses and bring in different, diverse businesses. We're not necessarily we don't only need these big businesses. We need people to go out and make their own jobs and be their own bosses and take control of their own lives. And to do that, you know, we definitely need to encourage them to get that education and to know the resources that are available to them. There's a place on campus that you can go to work out your own business opportunity, to look at your whole business and figure out how it's going to work. So that's where we would start.
Ms. Jackson.
When businesses move to this area, they are looking for areas that are beneficial to them, such as a thriving region, affordable housing, safe community, financial gain, skillful employees, education, tax incentives, and the quality of life. In order to get businesses to come to our region with high-paying jobs, we must first have something to offer, making sure our workforce is prepared for the type of jobs the businesses bring in. And if not, these businesses, will they be willing to have on-the-job training programs? We must prepare and encourage our citizens, along with high school and college students and graduates, on how important it is to have adequate and superior educational goals and skills. And for the entrepreneurship, the brain drain, if we encourage our SU students and University of Maryland students to become entrepreneurs, they will stay here. That's our main focus, is to have our SU students to stay here.
Thank you. Ms. Shields.
We have an employer business development department. We saw that we were trying to do a one-stop shop for our businesses because we had a reputation of being business unfriendly. This is discontinued. With the partnership with the leadership of Jake Day, I have to say that, and the council members, we are more business friendly. That's the first thing. We have to be business friendly. Somebody has to realize that we want them to come here. Now, a lot of young people may leave because of the opportunity. And one of the suggestions I have to keep kids here, before they leave, when they graduate, do a survey. I don't have all the answers why someone doesn't live here. I have 4 children that live here, but there were opportunities. I know the reason. get a survey to see why they're exiting from our community. Many may be going back to their hometown. Many may not be able to find a job. What is the reason they do not stay here? I think Salisbury is on the right path for doing that.
Thank you. District 2 candidates, Mr. Roby.
Well, this is an easy question because I'm one of those. I have a doctorate. I struggle sometimes because the state of Maryland has cut back on the budget, but I'm not beaten down. Back up. Other states don't have. You're seeing Volkswagen opening a plant in Tennessee. You're seeing Nissan. You're seeing that's the best way we can offer a package. The county already has SWED, Salisbury Wycomico ED. That's one way. The other way is to make it marketable, which is something that's been said. The last thing that I want to tell you is the students can stay here if we offer them an internship, if we offer collaboration among universities like they do in Massachusetts with Harvard, Tufts, and MIT. We need to bring that model here. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Ames.
Yes, to collaborate with our local legislatures. Reach out to Annapolis. Let's try to bring grant money to the area so that we can help form the leadership to bring these businesses here. If we actually work with our local legislatures and the Wycomico County itself, we can actually draw them here. We'll put packages together and offer them incentives for being here. And also to keep the Salisbury University students here, also working through our mayor and through Wycomico County and the local legislatures to get grant money for our downtown. We're talking about in the next 5 years that we want to go ahead and improve the downtown area. How we do that, we have to get this grant money. We have to work on getting the money to Salisbury so that we can actually give it out and bring these people here. We have the Purdue Business School is one of the best business schools in the state of Maryland. So right now we are producing the leaders that are going to be actually leading this nation. So that's where we need to go, is get the money. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Boda.
Earlier this summer, Governor Hogan took an economic development trip to Asia, which began in Korea. In return, the South Korean president recently visited Maryland and the Goddard Space Flight Center. As well, the CEO of the state-run Korea Electric Power Corporation and Maryland's Secretary of Commerce, Mike Gill, last week signed a memorandum between Korea and the state of Maryland, which says, I quote, for comprehensive cooperation in smart grids and new energy projects. One of my main priorities is to work closely with our local legislators and the governor's office, relationships I already have established, and fight for these jobs to come to Salisbury. These types of high-paying jobs are a key piece of the puzzle in reversing the brain drain from Salisbury University. And I want to work closely, not just with SU, but Warwick and UMES to provide training and education for these types of energy jobs and technology jobs. The Eastern Shore in Salisbury is the perfect place for these types of jobs, and I want our people to get these quality, good-paying jobs. Thank you.
Moving on to District 3 candidates, Mr. Heath.
If you're talking about raising the average wage, you're talking about manufacturing jobs. Manufacturing jobs are the key to success. Years ago, there was an association, an informal association of manufacturers in Northwood Industrial Park. I am right now targeting to reorganize and re-energize that group and bring them together. There are plenty of people working on bringing new businesses from the outside. Why not encourage the manufacturers that we have to come together to tell us what their needs are and increase and invest so that they can grow the number of jobs in their own companies right here. Once we get that accomplished, in conjunction with a good marketing program, we can bring more manufacturing jobs to the city. Thank you.
Mr. Lindsay.
All great answers, and I'm not pretty sure that we all really know how to do this. ESPN just laid off 300 people, billion-dollar company. Universal Studios just closed. So for me to sit up here and say, hey, I know what we're going to do, I'll be lying to you. But I know what we can do and what we need to first start doing. You know, stop looking at unemployment, poverty as liabilities to manage, okay, and start looking at them as assets to develop. That's what we need to start doing. You know, I work at Goodwill Workforce Development. I see every day, in and out, individuals trying to get jobs and they're not getting hired. One of the major reasons is folks don't believe in what we're trying to do down here in Salisbury. Revitalization is great, but folks are not buying into it for whatever reason. It's no simple answer. For me to sit up here and say, hey, I have the answer, I mean, I don't play games. Maybe you guys do, but I don't. But it's going to take a collaborative effort and some research to figure out why companies are leaving and to figure out how we can get business to come in. Thank you.
Mr. Spies.
It's no surprise to me that 1,200 students leave here every year. They have degrees that they invested their time and money into, and there's nothing here for them to have in the way of employment that matches those degrees. Very little. 1,200 children will leave here next spring. I want to see them come back, but I encourage them to go out there and start their careers and come back to Salisbury once Salisbury has something for them. I don't want to see those kids here flipping burgers, waiting for something to come around. They have talents, they have educations. They need to get out there, see the world, get grounded, and find something that suits them and develop a career. I would sooner see this happen in Salisbury, but without the jobs here to do that, it isn't going to happen. We have a great infrastructure, we have wonderfully trained people, we have a great educational system. All of those things will go toward making that a good place to come back to.
Moving to District 4 Canada, Mr. Mazzullo.
Yes, new business and opportunities are already developing in our downtown area. Businesses like Main Roots Coffee, the Brick Room are a couple. We will look forward to bringing other new businesses by the downtown waterway, and with the new Salisbury University building on the plaza, we are going to benefit from a brain gain. This will entice college graduates to open their entrepreneurial businesses in Salisbury and continue to live and raise their families. Now, I was told when I worked for Chock-full of Nuts Coffee, I had half the country, and they told me you're never going to open up because there's Maxwell's and Folgers, and I don't understand not winning. I opened up every major account on the Eastern Side. Today, Chock-full of Nuts is the third largest coffee company in the United States, so I do not give up. I'll continue to get jobs and bring business into this area.
Moving to District 5 Canada, Ms. Mitchell.
Thank you. Yes, we are concerned about unemployment and underemployment, as has been mentioned, and we do have to look for those opportunities wherever they are. It's not government's job to create jobs. That falls to the chamber and to individuals to start their own businesses and to other businesses that are here to help us attract more. And we have to work to create the environment that makes them want to be here and to invite their friends and businesses be here. That's government's job. Wrapping around the students, I think day one, well, maybe 3. They have 2 days of orientation as they move in. I'll talk to Mr. Sheehan about getting day 3. Do tours of the neighborhoods in the city at least, if not the whole county. Implement the scavenger hunt that we do for Village of Hope. Let the students go and do that so they get familiar. Too many students come back after spending 3, 4, 5 years here, and they don't even know we have a downtown, much less that there's Third Friday and shops and all these other great things happening. That it's important that we embrace them and include them.
Thank you. Our next question is, the community has been very excited to see the revitalization of downtown Salisbury occur. What specific action items would you employ to ensure that this revitalization continues? 1 minute each, and we'll start with Ms. Mitchell.
Catch me asleep or what? We've already started that process. We passed the ordinance for the bond issuance, for the money to do it. That's the really important first step. They'll be going out to bid. The contracts will be going out to bid very soon, and we'll award those contracts. Then comes the hard part for us. That's when we get involved. We have to be the liaisons and the go-betweens for businesses and the city and the customers. We have to make sure that the businesses know what's happening, when, where it's happening, that the customers know that the businesses are open and that they're inviting them in. And we have to make sure that the terms of the contract require that the roads open at all times, passable, and that all the businesses are accessible, and it's our job to make sure that that happens. Thank you.
District 4 candidate, Mr. Mazzullo.
Well, I have an example for the other day when we had Third Friday, and I was down on the plaza, and I had 3 tables across from me. There was a gentleman with a very upscale popcorn business, and I was talking with the owner, and we talked a little bit, and I said to him, well, where's your bit? He says, over in Berlin. I says, well, you need another popcorn business in Salisbury. He said to me, he said, oh, one of my girls works in Salisbury. She can run the place. He gave me his business card. We're going to talk. I'm not even on the council yet, but I'm going to be continuing to do things like that to bring more jobs into Salisbury.
Moving to District 3, Mr. Spies.
I have both the pleasure and honor to be a member of the Salisbury-Wycomico Planning Commission. And downtown is going to come across our table. And I'm going to look for quality housing and businesses that support the people that live in those houses, in those buildings, as well as having businesses that promote foot traffic. It's going to be something that I hope is going to be exciting. And that excitement is going to take us to having better revenue, a more vibrant downtown, and becoming more of a star on the Eastern Shore. And I really look forward to that. Thank you.
Mr. Lindsay.
Well, I think, once again, what we need to focus on, and I hope we don't forget, is to keep Salisbury striving. We got to get the future to buy into what's going on down there. And quite frankly, I'm going to tell you, a lot of the future doesn't, okay? It's just God-honest truth. We got to figure out a way to get the outside community to start buying into it. It's a certain demographic, a certain population that does buy into it, but as a community as a whole, I think that's going to be really difficult. And that's on the city council to go out and do more outreach instead of sitting behind the table and passing legislation. One of the things I like to see done, if we want to keep people coming downtown, is give them free parking. You know, I hear about that. You know, people don't want to pay for parking. Give them free parking, and they'll start coming down. And then the businesses, if you know, they can hand out a voucher so they don't have to pay for parking. So I've heard that a lot, so I think that we need to start there. Thank you.
Mr. Heath.
Yes, I think certainly we have to continue the incentives that we have now to attract businesses downtown. We also need to support the arts and entertainment network. That has been the catalyst for the development of our downtown and continues to be. Third, we need to support projects like the high-speed broadband that allows for greater technology downtown and can give them the access to something that will separate themselves from other businesses. The next thing we need to do is support multi-use development of the parking lots, the surplus parking lots that are there, which includes parking, which includes housing, which includes retail, et cetera. When you get that multi-use look working, you have people who are living, working, playing, and raising their families in a vibrant neighborhood. Thank you.
Moving to District 2 candidates, Mr. Boda.
First, I strongly support the Main Street Master Plan and will work to ensure the completion of the project. Second, we must continue to work with each property owner and ensure that our policies and our strategies are in place to maximize the potential of each individual property down there. Third, I have a vision for downtown Salisbury to not just be a destination point, but to be the destination point on the Lower Shore. We can turn parking lots that are on the East Prong into a great row of restaurants, attract national anchor stores down to the plaza to help support our local businesses that are there and the ones that are going to come. It is imperative that we have quality housing, entertainment, arts, retail, and ensure our downtown is accessible, bikeable, and walkable.
Mr. Ames.
Yes, foot traffic. If you have businesses downtown, in the downtown Salisbury area, if you do not have foot traffic, you will not make money. So how do we get people to come there? We definitely have to have the vibrant businesses, but we need to actually look out, how do we bring other people from the local area here? Is it a possibility we can have more of our bus system? Is it a possibility that we can reach out to the legislature to try to get a train through Amtrak, a pilot program built to have more people coming from the different areas on the lower shore to Salisbury? If we are going to be the center of the shore and its glowing, shining star, we have to have foot traffic. We have to have people brought to us, and we have to have a way to make them safe and give them the things that they need. Thank you.
Mr. Harabi.
But downtown, what I like about it is that it looks very exquisite and classical. The bricks that we have are very nice. It stands out from the rest of the city. We have nice buildings, so I think visual appeal will attract more than projects, because that's just how things work. If you look at London, there's one modern architecture that looks like an oval standing up, and it's beautiful colors. If we can get the architecture down and attractive so that people know where to go, I think that will be a home run for us. The second thing I want to see is the library. We improve the architecture of the library, make it more appealing, because library represents what? Center of intellect, knowledge, and to bring children to the center. Our library, we need to work on it, and I'd like to work with the county to see what we can do to make it more attractive to go to the library, because every city I've been to, the library looks wonderful. So let's work on that. Thank you.
Moving to District 1 candidates, Ms. Shields.
Yes, action is already being taken, and I will continue to support the action. As Mr. Heath said, the high-speed internet for business who want to connect to it. We already have the Wi-Fi downtown. To bring small businesses downtown, we have the revolving loan. I would continue to promote that, because some people may still be unaware that the city has a revolving loan program for qualified applicants. The Maryland Capital Enterprise offers loans for small businesses. And I'm looking out in the audience tonight, and we hear about downtown for the young. We have a retirement community. I'm a senior citizen, and we need to make sure we do include our seniors who have been the builders of our community. And we cannot forget those folks. So we need to be inclusive of what we offer. So if you get a cup of coffee, a senior citizen should be able to go and buy a bottle of aspirin or some Kleenex. I've been saying this for years. We need that type of business also. So if anyone out there in TV land wants to start a business, start a little drugstore.
Ms. Jackson.
The action items that I would bring forth would be great support of the prior and forthcoming effort that the mayor and the city council members are helping to bring new life and vigor to the downtown area. Myself with the other city council members and mayors as part of the process of helping bring establishments such as apartments, shops, and other businesses for the entire city of Salisbury and others to enjoy, with the thought of also revitalizing other areas of the city that also need to be beautified by eliminating the downtown island created by US 1350 Carroll Street, so the west side especially will be welcome. And these obstacles such as traffic congestion, poor signals, inadequate river crossings, and insufficient crossings for pedestrians will be revamped and bring all our neighborhoods abroad. I would love to see every entity partnership in revitalization of Salisbury so it can become an investment for us all.
Ms. Halcutt.
One of the first things I would do would be to talk to the owners of the locations on the plaza. A local soap shop owner opened up in Berlin, and I said to him, "Why didn't you open up in Salisbury? You live in Salisbury." He said it was too expensive. If we're gonna get businesses on the plaza, we cannot be too expensive for those businesses. We have to talk to the property owners, bring down the rates. We have to do whatever we can do to get that to be affordable for those businesses to start those businesses on the plaza. It's not ever going to be revitalized if we don't have the businesses there to do the business.
Thank you all. Again, my next question, you'll each have 1 minute to respond. How do you intend to work to improve relationships with the county? Do you think our community should explore a consolidation of services? What challenges and/or opportunities do you see to a collaborative arrangement? Ms. Hawkeye?
I would start by inviting the county council members to a table to have a meeting and see what they would want to do. I don't know entirely what their plans are, and I wouldn't be able to know where to go without talking to them first. I think the key to any relationship is communication, so you got to start the dialogue to know where to go next.
Thank you. Ms. Jackson?
I do know that the city and the county have made little or no progress in resolving the tax differential. I feel as though the city and the county should hold discussions, meetings annually to discuss and also develop a plan to rectify, or maybe I say even come up with a solution for our unreasonable municipal boundaries of Salisbury that could reduce costs for the taxpayers. Community workshops would be what I would recommend. Countywide, to be exact, concentrating on how the city and county government structure should change or consolidate, which could possibly be beneficial to each person in the entire county.
Ms. Shields?
I have a good relationship with the county office because I go there and talk to them. Every chance I get, I run my mouth with the secretaries and county exec and council members, and so, because I believe in the golden rule, treating people the way you want to be treated. And I think until politics is taken out of this idea, it won't happen. That's reality. And then also you must think about the budgets we have. We have separate budgets. We have bonds and debts and all that. But one department is working well, and that's the Salisbury Wycomico Planning and Zoning. That is working very well. And I think that is an example of how it could be happening. But you have issues within our hearts and politics that may keep it from happening.
Thank you. Moving to District 2 candidates, Mr. Arabi.
Well, West Side Salisbury Elementary now going to have air conditioning. So I'm excited about that. I looked at the 47-page plan, and it's going to look fabulous. So I'm very excited about that. So I'm very pumped and energetic about working with the county. The first thing is SWID, Salisbury Wycomico Economic Development. I want to look at our tax exempt incentives. Look at all of that, see how we can help bring that to more fruition, to bring more business. There's other things that affects the county. And one of them is we have to look to the state. The state of Maryland has two things on the plate. One is to eliminate racial profiling, which is by Senator Cardin. And then the other one is to bring a second crossing across the Chesapeake Bay. We're going to have to work with the county to see how it affects our county and how it brings jobs down here and how it affects police relationships. So sort of those specific things that I want to work on. So I'm very excited. The last thing I want to say, I wanted to commend Bob Culver for managing the budget so well, and the capital improvement plan now has more money on the table. Thank you.
Mr. Ames.
Yes, we have to find common goals. We need to find those goals and sit down at the table with the county council, line them up, and work together to get the funding. If the county is fighting for the same money that the city is fighting for, it benefits no one. Nothing will move forward if we don't do that. So we do have to have some collaboration, because if we have roads, right now that's half of it is actually Salisbury and half of it is actually county. It takes a good negotiator to be able to get there and solve those issues. I'm one of them. I've actually had to solve the issues with city and county having to work together to get some of the streets and the roads actually fixed. Behind the Civic Center, North Park Drive, I had to work with the city of Salisbury to make that happen as a county employee. So it can happen, but we do have to work together to get the money. If we are fighting against each other to get money, no one benefits. So we have to work together.
Thank you. Before we go to Mr. Boda, I want to announce that there's those viewers that are watching at home. In just a moment, our live coverage of tonight's candidate forum will continue on local MeTV affiliate, which can be found on 47-3 if you're watching via antenna. Comcast cable viewers can find MeTV on channel 203. That's 203. We hope that you'll stay with us for the remainder of this important political forum. Please change your channel now. Mr. Boda.
I have existing relationships with every member of the Wicomico County Council and the county executive. I will work to ensure that we fairly address the issues between the city and the county and maintain a strong working relationship. I believe we could look at consolidation of services where appropriate. One example is currently the fire services agreement is being negotiated between the city and the county. And once we have, basically what's happening is the city of Salisbury provides fire service to county residents with little compensation. Once that's going to be negotiated, which I think we're going to make a good agreement with the county, we can then look at the tax differential and other issues between the city and the county. But I'm confident that we can address our issues effectively, professionally, and come to a reasonable compromise when necessary, which will ultimately be in the best interests of our residents and our taxpayers.
Thank you. Moving into District 3 candidates, Mr. Heath.
Yes, total consolidation is an elephant. And how do you eat an elephant? You eat it in small pieces. I think that for sure cooperation between the county and the city council and cooperation and communication, those two things are imperative. We have to look for synergies. And by synergies, I mean those areas where there's an overlap of providing the same services. Let's pick the low-hanging fruit. Let's attack that, and let's solve the problem and consolidate in those areas. What will that do? Synergies usually bring two things. They bring efficiency and financial savings. That's how we should start. Thank you.
Mr. Lindsay.
What, y'all fighting? Y'all not getting along? I mean, I'm new to the table, so I mean, a new face probably would help that, first and foremost. That's how I look at it. First, I think that new faces, I don't want to go back and forth on what we're doing or what we're going to do, but new faces sitting down talking to each other like it used to be, instead of emails and text messages. I also want to know what the county or how the county, and I'm going to go back to this because the city can't do it alone. What are you going to do to help these young men and women be successful? How are we going to get together and make things happen? Because we can't do it alone. Between the school system, the kids running downtown or doing whatever, how are you guys going to help us with that? So new faces, new ideas is a start. And hopefully you guys, you know, when I do get elected, we can work together. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Spies.
I am pleased to say that I have an outstanding relationship with many of the county council members and also with the county executive. We speak at least weekly and talk about the issues that affect us both. I think that there are places within the county that are terribly underutilized. I think one of those is the school system. We have schools that are open 8 hours a day and closed for the remaining 16 hours a day. Those are perfect places for community centers. To fund those centers, we have the opportunity to apply for the Weed and Seed grant. That'd be $1 million worth of funding to get security in there, to get cleanup, et cetera, et cetera. Those could be great community centers. They could be resource libraries. They could be computer centers. Good for youth and good for adults. And what better locations than in your neighborhood? There are 12 schools or more in the city, and we are underutilizing them. I would like to see that happen.
District 4 candidate, Mr. Mazzullo.
Yes, the other night, my wife and I attended the meeting at SU here with the city, the county, the state, and the university police departments. And I was extremely impressed with how well they all work together and they support each other. This is an example of how the city and the county can work together to provide services, and it will be a win-win for everyone. When we all work together as a team, the team will win.
District 5 candidate, Ms. Mitchell.
We've heard a lot about communication, and that is important. Open, honest, calm, rational discussion is the key. Nothing starts without that, but it's not just at the top. It is with each department head. It's across the board. Everybody coming up with ideas and contributing and having those ideas welcomed and heard. We do a lot of cooperation and collaboration. Sometimes that looks like paving the streets when it's half in and half out of the city. You pave this one, I'll pave that one. We did that MOU and we resolved that. It's working very well. Hopefully we don't have any snow this year, so we won't really have to see it, but that's just me. Sometimes it's piggybacking on contracts that each other have gone out and gotten, and that saves some money, and you can get economies of scale by buying in bulk or buying together and contributing that way. And other times it's the police departments. They are that model. They are working together. They come together every month and they talk about what's going on, because it's not the city and the county and the state. It's everybody together. It's not individual silos.
Thank you. And our final question is a very difficult but a very serious question. Crime is one of the most significant issues facing our fair city of Salisbury. What would you do, or what policies would you implement to further reduce crime in our community? And what are your thoughts on dealing with juvenile crime? 1 minute each, Ms. Walcott.
Yesterday, I saw a teenage boy across the street from me with what I thought was a real gun, pointing it at other children, laughing and saying, "Freeze or I'll shoot." When I called the police, it took them an hour and a half just to come by and drive by. It was a serious issue, and it did not get the response that it needed. I think that the police need to take these kinds of issues very, very real. They need to have police on the streets making real relationships with people so that when someone does see something like this, they can respond very quickly. I think that the police need to do everything that they can, and I think that the neighborhoods need to do what they can too. I think people need to start talking to their neighbors more, and that when everyone sees an issue like this happening and everyone calls, then the police will respond quicker. Thank you.
Ms. Jackson.
Salisbury's poverty level is 31%. African American is 42.3%. Whites is 24.6%. That is a problem, and it speaks volumes to me, because if we don't bring in jobs, then we will continue with the poverty. And as we know, poverty and crime goes hand in hand. I would like to see the city of Salisbury place as a priority reentry programs and housing. As we already know, most acts of violence and crimes are by repeat offenders. And these are some of the things that I would like to see for the youth. Youth developmental centers that do not cost, scholarships from different churches and organizations and businesses, adopt a child program. Instead of our city investing in criminals, we should be investing in building leaders, businessmen and women, governors, senators, mayors, lawyers, athletes and artists, young and old. We should not be investing in criminals. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Shields?
In our budget this year, we did put $35,000, and we're working with Poplar Hill Correctional Facility in Quantico for the reentry program, and it's going quite well. I would do preventive measures through holistic programming with the parents and the children. We can work with the children, but we also have to work with the parents. Also, to continue to have a dialogue with the community, because we've been having community meetings because of an issue with some juveniles, and to continue that dialogue to see how it's working, what we need to do, and also the funding. I do agree we have to talk to the local and state and federal people for funding for these programs. If we go into schools, what is the liability to have a program in the school? What is the cost factor? Everything has a cost factor to it, and we have to find out that and research that. And I'm willing to do that to bring these programs back to our community.
Moving into District 2 candidates, Mr. Harabi.
Well, crime is, has a reason. Nobody's born a criminal. The fact that we have so many African Americans with records is a problem. They can't get a job, they're stuck in poverty, and then they get into a cycle of crime and drugs. The other factor about it is that we have to get prescription drugs cheaper for folks, whichever way we can. A lot of heroin users that get caught with that are because they're jumping off from an addictive substance. The third factor is that we have to build better relationships with the community by having the police walk the streets, walk the neighborhoods. That way, when people feel better, they can give more intelligence to the police to see, hey, where is this person? Where is that person that you need to focus on? So I think those are the main ones. The last thing that I wanted to say is that the law, what we need to do is to bring some kind of support to our states so that racial profiling doesn't become a problem, and we can find an alternative to that so folks feel safe and not targeted because they're black or whatever. Thanks so much.
Mr. Ames.
How we solve the problem is jobs. If we have the parents at home, they will keep their kids there. They will take care of their kids and they will not be on the streets. One parents right now are working 2 jobs to survive. That's why we have the juveniles and the children that are out there on the streets. There's no one home with them. So if we can solve one problem, we'll solve the other one. And that will resolve most of the issues that we have. There will be problems with these youth that are out there that are looking for trouble. And also, we can have the programs. Other people have already said that. But one, let's get some jobs. Let's find the money. Let's work with the county. Let's work with the state. And we can do this. Thank you.
Mr. Boda.
I think there are several elements to continue reducing crime in our city. First, we need to be upfront and at the table with the governor's task force on addressing the heroin epidemic in our area. We must ensure that we not only focus on targeting the flow of heroin, but we also work with the county to implement intensive rehabilitation programs in our area. Addiction is a disease. We cannot arrest our way out of this problem. Secondly, I would like to see with our police department is we need to look in the next couple of years what kind of police department we want. One of the things I believe we need to do is add a community policing division, which would start off with at least a 6 to 8 man team that would be bike patrol and foot patrol in key areas of their city. We need to get our officers out from behind the wheel of the police car, and that barrier is that window, and we need to break that barrier down. Next, I have a comprehensive plan to address juvenile crime, which includes reestablishing community centers and developmental centers in key neighborhoods in our city. And I encourage everyone to visit my website at vodaforsalisbury.com for more details. Thank you.
Moving into District 3 candidates, Mr. Heath.
Yes. We need to address the core of the issue, which is the at-risk youth. The city council, the business people, the parents, the teachers, none of us can do it alone. As one member of the curfew audience said, it takes a village. We need to bring back the 1,000 moms. For those of you who don't remember the 1,000 moms, it's when we moved down here and our daughter would go to the mall and she would come home and we would say to her, you know, we saw you at the mall. And she said, you weren't there. How did you see me at the mall? Because 1,000 moms were watching. It takes a village, and we must make that happen. Thank you.
Mr. Lindsay.
Well, crime is down. I think Mr. Day has said that over and over again. So let's stop running on a fear campaign, okay? Let's be real about this. And let's talk about the juveniles. We want to do a curfew. We need to start looking at data. I don't think nobody has done that. We're talking about putting in a curfew system, but most of the crimes are committed between 3 and 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. So what's the curfew going to do? I don't understand it. Let's start looking at hard, raw data. And I don't think anybody's done that. I don't think anybody's gone to Wycomico Department of Juvenile Services and looked at their data to find out what's actually going on. It definitely starts at home, okay? But as a community, like I say, we need to invest in our kids so our kids and our youth start believing in our community. And stop playing these games that they're running all over town and don't have anything to do when you don't want to do anything from them, starting from third base. So we need to start reaching out to them as well. Thank you.
Mr. Spees.
I think I bring an interesting perspective to the council, having been a police officer for 4 years while I was working my way through school. I know that policing is not the answer. Policing is only a part of the answer, and it's the worst answer we can have. What we have is generations of neglect, whether it be intentional or incidental. And those generations create people who are not connected to the community. I think with bringing community centers together, we'll have that opportunity to give people a place to go, get kids off the street, help them enjoy an educational process, bring families back together, and perhaps offer some guidance to people who have never had guidance, who have rejected guidance, to whom it was never offered before. I think we have opportunities here to turn this around, and I look forward to getting them going. Thank you very much.
District 4 candidate, Mr. Mazzullo.
Yes, I support working with the Salisbury Police Department and all the other city departments as well as the city residents so we can develop better ways to reduce crime. I would like to see more of our boys and girls getting involved in sports and in getting into community centers so they can do more fun things after school, which will help them grow and prosper. It beats being out all late at night, getting into trouble. I think we need to have more things for them to do so they can be having fun and not being out all in evenings.
And District 5 candidate, Ms. Mitchell.
Thank you. This is one of those core issues, crime. It is down, but we do have a lot of petty crimes going on. Juveniles and adolescents and addictions are two of the major drivers here, two of the major focuses that we have going right now. I'm working with the chief and some others on a really new, innovative way to approach the addictions issue. Yeah. And I look forward to sharing that very soon. It's having great success across the country. And as for the adolescents, I think we need to look at how they're valuing themselves, what message they're getting from what we're giving to them. I understand budgetary constraints. We have all of that. We've dealt with that. And at some point, we chose to pay later instead of invest then. Well, those are your choices, invest now or pay later. We didn't invest for a period of time, and now we're going to have to pay and invest at the same time if we're going to turn it around. Chicago had a group of kids they put to work, and they did a study on them, and just working for 8 weeks out of the summer reduced the risks of those kids committing violent crimes over the next 8 years by more than 40%. Put them to work.
Thank you. Thank you all so much for your participation in today's event. I'm now going to give each of you 1 minute for your closing remarks. Mr. Day.
Let's talk facts. Our population is up. Salisbury has never decreased, not 1 year since 1732, not once. We are the second fastest growing city in Maryland. Our median age is down, 28.8 years old. We are a growing city because of that, 10 years younger than the rest of the state of Maryland. Our diversity is up. We are becoming a more diverse city, and we will be a minority-majority city by 2020. Unemployment is down. 8.8% 12 months ago, 5.8% today. And that is this month. Our education is up. Educational attainment of bachelor's degrees, associate degrees, and high school graduation has increased in Wycomico County. Our crime is down. 45% reduction in 5 years in Salisbury in overall crime, and I claim no credit for that. Here's the kicker. Our real jobs are up. We are the only county south of the Bay Bridge that has had an increase since the Great Recession in actual number of jobs, the only county. I say all that not to tell you that the job is done, because it's not. The stage, however, is set, and we will do even better to bring Salisbury together as a unified community. I promise you I will be working full-time, day and night, for you. My name is Jake Day, and I'm excited to be your next mayor.
Thank you, sir. District 1 candidates, Ms. Hallcutt.
A few years ago, I wanted to get chickens, and I found out that I couldn't because an ordinance had changed. I emailed all of my city council members. The one that responded was Jake Day. I think it's really important for the community to regularly email their city council members, and I think everybody has good ideas, and if everybody works together and gives whoever does win city council their ideas and works with them, then this is going to be an even better city. And I think everybody needs to respond when someone does send in those emails. And as a community, we can make this city better. I would do that. I would respond to your emails. I want to find out what people want, and I want to make Salisbury better.
Ms. Jackson.
Well, in my closing, I would like to say that I would be a great investment in becoming your next City Council representative for District 1. My time is already spent being a representative and being active in the city. If you want a representative who is active, that's me. You want a representative you can reach the people, that's me. You want a representative who is visible throughout the city and county, that's me. You want a representative who knows the people and represents them well, that's me. No more to be said, I'm that representative. Thank you so much for your time. November the 3rd, 2015. Remember, vote April Jackson. It's a new day. Let's try it a new way. Thank you.
Ms. Shields.
Prior to me even sitting on the city council, I worked in my community, Salisbury, for 23 years. And one of the projects was the Leonard Apartments for migratory labor. So I have the best interest for the community. I'm seen every morning, or practically every morning, at McDonald's, and I can be reached there. That's my office, as they say. I enjoy what I do, and like I said when I first opened, I love the path that the city of Salisbury is going. But we have to remember, we are one person, and if you do not have the support of your rest of the council people, things will not get done like you wish. It will not happen overnight. Some things take 2 years, some things take 10. Germania Circle was 10 years. We do have a vision. We do have a vision on the council, and I want to be part of that future and that vision for our community. And I do think I represent District 1 and the whole Salisbury very well.
District 2 candidates, Mr. Harabi.
I know I want to be a councilman. I want to be the District 2 councilman. I can't think of anything else. I want this job more than anybody else wants it in the city. District 2 councilman. When I was 17, I met a senator. I got a 4.0. In graduate school, I had a 3.9, and now I'm teaching, and I want our country to be #1 and stop exporting China's jobs to other countries. We want to bring it right here to Salisbury, so we're #1. I don't want to be second place to anybody. We're going to be #1 for jobs, #1 for manufacturing, #1 for education, #1 for owning a house, and we're going to have crime at the bottom of the list.
Thank you. Mr. Ames.
Yes. Yes, this is serious times. These are serious times for Salisbury, and we're trying to decide which direction we're going to go in. Are we going to stay in the past and drag down, or are we going to move forward with our mayor and give him everything he needs, the support, or do we believe in ourselves? I'm a person that believes in Salisbury. Everything that I've heard up here are comments and suggestions that I've made. I hear stuff repeated that I've already said. So what I'm saying right now is I believe I am the leader for District 2, because District 2 is where I come from, and I believe in all the people there. I am a positive voice for positive people, and I believe in Salisbury. Thank you.
Mr. Boda.
As we approach one of the most historic elections in our city's great history, I believe the voters of District 2 need a council member that has experience, that not only understands the role of the city council, but understands the needs of our city and the bounds within which we can appropriately address those issues. I have been deeply involved in our city and county for many years by serving on boards and committees, professionally working with law enforcement, the state's attorney's office, and other law enforcement agencies at every level of government. One of the key assets I bring to the table is existing relationships with not only those in the city and county governments, but I have established relationships, working relationships, with all members of the Lower Shore delegation in Annapolis. So I ask the voters of District 2, let my experience work for you in City Hall and send someone who will be ready on day one to fully address the issues of this city and the council right now. Thank you.
District 3 candidates, Mr. Heath.
Yes, we've talked about some very serious issues tonight, but I want to tell you I'm excited. We don't talk enough about the good things that are going on and the things that we've done. I'm proud to be a part of the individuals that finally made the choice to grab the studies that have been sitting there for 60 years and actually make it happen. We're doing something. I ask that you look at my record, my voting record, as it relates to the principles that I spoke about, from the very first day that I joined the council till now. And I want to say that I may be elected by these citizens who represent District 3, but I will represent each and every one of the citizens of Salisbury to the best of my ability. Thank you very much.
Mr. Lindsay.
True leaders don't create followers. They create more leaders. So I'm not going to sit here and drag you on. And Xavier, we're almost done, bud. Daddy loves you. We're almost done. About to go home, all right? But we need to get out so our community knows who we are. That's important. Stop sitting behind the table making decisions. Shoot, maybe we need to have city council meetings out in the neighborhood. I don't know. But I think that's what we need to do. I ran because of Rakeem Russell. I knew that man. That young kid, 17-year-old, when he was little, when he ran through my house. I knew him. I knew the mom. And there's two sides to this, the victims and the people that created the crime. They're struggling too. So we need to start looking out for the future. Stop pushing them off like they're gonna be all right, because they don't look like you. Because if they looked like most of the individuals out here, we wouldn't be in this issue we're having now. Thank you and have a good day.
Mr. Spies.
I've been at this job for 4.5 years, and my voting record also speaks plainly of how much I care for Salisbury. But beyond the voting record, I've been out there and beating the bushes. I've saved the city on my own over $30,000 this year. I've made changes in the city's administration and in policies to save even more every year. I've been a crime control advocate. I've been a neighborhood advocate. I've been an outspoken advocate for a lot of issues here in the city. I continue to be outspoken in the council. Some people would have me shut up, but I'm not going to do that, because what has to be said has to be said. Everything has to be out in the open. We have a transparent council now, not, very much unlike some previous councils. We're doing much better at what we do. Salisbury is growing. Salisbury has a brighter future than it ever did. I'm a part of that. I want to continue to be a part of that. I hope you'll vote for me on November 3rd. Thank you very much.
City Council District 4 candidate, Mr. Mazzullo.
Yes, I have been, as I said, in Salisbury for over 23 years, and I felt it was time to give back with my years of business knowledge and expertise. And everything we discussed tonight has to do with quality of life. More jobs, reduce young crime, and bring the city of Salisbury back into its roots of being the prosperous and welcoming city of the Eastern Shore, which we know we all want. Now, I will be definitely very helpful and assist Salisbury So on November 30th, November 3rd, not the 30th, I would appreciate your vote for Roger for District 4. Thank you very much for your.
District 5 candidate, Ms. Mitchell.
I have served for 4.5 years. We've worked very hard to make the process more transparent. We moved our work sessions into the council chambers so they could be televised like our council meetings. We do have council meetings in the community. It's called Coffee with Your Council. I don't know what happened to my tongue. I took leave already, I guess. Coffee with Your Council, where you set the agenda. You come and talk to us. Every quarter we go to a different quadrant of the city and we have those discussions and talking with the people. My least favorite place to be is behind the table, because that means we're talking to people and not with people. And I love that cooperation. I love the connections that we've been able to make and the things we've been able to achieve. And I'm really excited about continuing for another 4 years. Salisbury is already second to none, but that doesn't mean that our job is done. Thank you.
Thank you. Once again, thanks to all the candidates. We hope that the time spent here tonight has encouraged those voters watching to go out and vote on November 3rd. Remember, if you want change, you have to get out and vote. Thank you. We now join our regularly scheduled programming already in progress.